Apparently, the Broncos front office wants to bring him back.
I actually heard in an interview with him recently that he wants to play for a contender. Do like the potential fit of Buffalo or both the LA teams.
And speaking of another back that was splitting time in the backfield, going over to Denver, Melvin Gordon, the bane of every Javonte Williams fantasy owner's existence. He's a potential free agent. I think I saw a report today. I think I put in our group chat. Apparently, Broncos front office wants to bring him back, so we'll see. But so, do you think that he'll stay, or do you think he goes, John?
It's tough, man. I don't know how much money he's going to want, and that's what makes it really hard to decide where he goes. Because I actually heard in an interview with him recently that they're asking about his future, and he was saying that he wants to play for a contender, and so that limits guys teams like Houston, that have a lot of money. That throws them out of the conversation if that's true. But he said he wants to be competing. He said he wants to be playing playoff football. So, if he's come back on the right price, I wouldn't be shocked to see Denver keep him. That being said, I don't know what the role would be at that point. I still think he gets involved, but I think it's Javonte Williams. I think it's his turn. So he'd be like the true number one option, and Melvin would sort of be the second option, basically. It's tough because he's really talented. So, but it doesn't feel right to say he's a 1B to Javonte's 1A, because I think Javonte just earned it last year, despite being in the split carry role. So, if he's willing to be in like maybe a competitive situation, but not necessarily like a contender, we could see maybe like Miami gets in the mix. So, we talked about them earlier. But if he's really set on going to like a winning organization, and once again, it depends on the money. I do like the potential fit of Buffalo or both the LA teams. I think the Rams are sort of like an underrated spot for running backs, just because they have Cam Akers, but he's coming off injuries, and they got Sony Michel, who might leave in free agent. I don't know the status of Darrell Henderson and his contract. He might have one more year still, but I think they'd be in the mix to throw another running back in there. Melvin Gordon could be a really solid option if he wants to win. And we talked about the Chargers. I don't know if he'd ever want to go back, but it's an option, right? So if him and Eckler, I think they worked well together the first time. Maybe they want to do it again. And it's new coach, so maybe that helps. But anyway, so I think if he wants to be a contender, really the only options I could really see, like I said, Buffalo, the Rams, maybe the Chargers. It's kind of tough to see a lot of these other contending teams go after him, because a lot of them are pretty set at running backs, or they're not really. They're sort of teams like the Chiefs, for example, that I don't think they'd spend the money on a guy like him. So, yeah. I guess one more other underrated example could be maybe the Ravens. They got J.K. Dobbins coming off injury. I don't know the backup situation there.
I guess Edwards tore his ACL a few weeks, a week or two later. So who knows his recovery process? So yeah, I'm right with you.
Yes, I mean they're using Latavius Murray and Devonta Freeman. So anybody could be an option there to come back and pair with J.K. Dobbins. So that could be another spot potentially.
Yeah, I just thought of Buffalo right before you said that too. I think that would probably be more likely than a Leonard Fournette, considering I think they have to think about some guys to re-sign as well. So maybe Melvin's the lesser, better option for them. LA is a really good one. Another one I want to throw out there too, which we'll talk about. Their guy later. Seattle, if they do lose, and we'll talk about Rashad Penny later. If they do lose Rashad Penny, kind of need that the home run hitter type back. Chris Carson, I know he dealt with injuries, and I think he'll still be there, but he's kind of more the bruiser in between the tackles. Not that Melvin can't be the in between tackles guy, but Seattle typically likes to have 2 or 3 backs in use. And granted, if they still have Russell Wilson, obviously they are still a contender. But I just want to throw Seattle. But
so just real quick, I mean it's tough to really throw them in here. But if hypothetically both James Conner and Chase Edmonds are gone, then Arizona becomes in play for a lot of these running backs.
Yeah, true. Same with really Tampa, because I know they lost Ali Marpet, but they still have Ryan Jensen, who's a really good center.
Which he is a free agent, so we'll see.
Which I imagine they'll probably prioritize in signing if they still want to be contenders. But like I said, we'll see. They still have Tristan Wirfs, so they still have some solid pieces on that O-line. as of right now. But and in regards to Denver, if he does stay, I think it really depends on if they can clarify the quarterback situation within the next few weeks, which I highly doubt. Because if they bring in an Aaron Rodgers or they bring in even like I'm not saying I don't think he's going to leave, but like a Matt Ryan, it's just a quarterback that you can definitively say, okay, he's our guy. Then I think that would be more like. I think Melvin would be more inclined to stay, obviously, since he mentioned he wants to stay with the contender, wants to play playoff football. But if I had to guess, I think he's going to leave because that's also just a tough division right now to get into the playoffs with because Chiefs are probably going to make the playoffs. Chargers have been sniffing it the past few years, and we know they have the talent to do so with Herbert. The Raiders still made the playoffs last year, and they had their whole that whole situation going on. So, you may just want to get out of the AFC West and go to another place that like you mentioned, like Buffalo. So, we'll see what happens with Melvin Gordon. Kind of like Leonard Fournette, where this may be his last best, offer in terms of money.